Hey Ravenna, this is Pastor Scott. As you probably already know, this Sunday, July 5th, we will be reopening our doors in that phased approach to opening up our church again. And I cannot tell you how excited I am that a lot of us are going to be together. This video is intended to give you all the information that you're going to need in order to know what to expect and what format to worship in. We'll have several different options for you. And I'll also probably send out an FAQ sheet later in the week with the information here in a reference kind of format. But I want to encourage you to watch the video. And I want to start by setting the tone for our reopening, because that's probably the most important thing. And the reason is that there are a lot of different opinions about how we should be reopening and how we should be comporting ourselves in church. Should we wear masks? Should we not wear masks? Social distancing? Should people who are comfortable be free to, not social distance? And I want to start by saying that at Ravenna, we are going to create a temporary COVID culture of love and deference for one another. We are going to create a temporary COVID culture of love and deference for one another. Now, I hope that we will always have a culture of love and deference for one another, but this looks a little bit different in the time of COVID. I want to tell you a story. When I was young, and my brother was 2 years younger than I, my dad took us on a bike ride, and he took us on a bike ride along one of the main roads, and so there was a lot of traffic. It's 4-lane highway, but there was a bike path along it, but that path crossed several, big cross streets. And so, I had been riding my bike for a while. My brother had just started riding his bike, and this was going to be the first big kind of 2-3 mile ride that we did together. And so before we started, my dad was a Marine, and he shared with us one of the things that he knew about the Marines. He said, "Kids, we're going to go as slow as the slowest person. We're not going to leave anybody behind." And so in my 5-6-year-old mind, what I heard was a little different. I heard that we're going to go as fast as the fastest person. Right? That's honestly and genuinely what I thought. And so, on the ride out, it was an out and back ride. On the ride out, we all kind of rode together. And on the way back, though, I said, I'm going to try out this new thing my dad taught me. We're going to go as fast as the fastest person because we're going kind of slow. And I just took off, and I went straight ahead. And my dad didn't know what to do. He's on this busy 4-lane highway. One son just took off. He's, eventually going to hit one of these side streets. And here he's got his younger son who is not going to be able to keep up, and he needs to be with both of them. What's he going to do? And so he pedals, and eventually he catches up with me. And he says, "Scott, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, you said we're going to go as fast as the fastest person." And he said, No. We're going to go as slow as the slowest person. And he explains to me in kind of a, in a way that, he had to go leave behind my brother, and we couldn't even see him. And he said, "I don't know what's going on with him. He's along this highway, but I couldn't let you cross this street. That's why we go as slow as the slowest person, so that we don't leave anybody behind." It was a pretty formative moment in my life. You go slow as the slowest person. You don't leave people behind. Now, in terms of reopening, we're not going to be able to go as slow as the slowest person in terms of, opening the church. But we are not going to leave anybody behind. And when it comes to reopening the church, we are going to err on the side of being slow, and we are going to err on the side of being cautious. Why? Because we're creating a culture of love and deference for one another in this time of COVID. We're creating a COVID culture of love and deference towards one another. And so we're not going to leave anybody behind. What does that mean? That means that whatever we do at church on Sunday mornings, we're going to be live streaming so that people who are preferring to worship at home for this time, they can participate in that. We're going to make that as good as we can for those who are staying home. But it also means that when we open, if you're worshiping inside, and there'll be a sign-up sheet that I'll talk about in a second. If you're worshiping inside, we are requiring masks anytime that you go inside, anytime you use the bathroom. Okay, we're not requiring masks outside, but we'll have ways that will easily show you how to separate, distance your family from others as you worship. And we are, on Sunday mornings, going to be social distancing. And so there have been, different ideas floating around there about, well, this person's comfortable, this person isn't. I understand that. And if you're more comfortable on a Sunday afternoon, or you're more comfortable on somewhere else in terms of social distancing, that's fine. That's your choice. But on Sunday morning, we are going to follow strict social distancing guidelines, and we're going to keep 6 feet apart. Like, you may elbow bump somebody on Sunday afternoon, but we're not going to do that on Sunday mornings. Okay. Now, the other part of this is that if someone does make a mistake and someone does, go in for the hug or go in for the elbow bump, is not to get really angry at them. Okay, because we need to create a COVID culture of love and deference for one another, and that goes both ways. Okay, and it's fine. You just say, "Oh man, let me give you a COVID hug," and you give them a distance hug. You say, "It is so good to see you. I've missed you." Okay, so there are ways to deal with the kinds of things that we'll be experiencing when we get to church. Okay, but on Sunday mornings we are going to be recognizing this strict social distancing, out of love and deference for one another. Now, there are other details that I'm sure you want to know about, so let's talk about those.
Let me orient you. Here's our existing building. Here's the office. Here's a big TV. This is the parking lot. The plan is we're going to live stream from right here. That's where we're going to do the live stream. And then there'll be a number of people, limited number of people, who are going to be inside the building. And then we're going to have a big old TV right here so that people can watch right out there. If you bring your phone, you can live stream right here in the car, right there. So the service is going to start at 9:30. Let me repeat. The service is going to start at 9:30. The service will last for an hour. Let me repeat. The service is going to last for an hour. There won't be any child care and there won't be any nursery, but we welcome your children to come. Please feel free to bring some snacks and some toys for the kids. No problem. Though we understand that if for the time being it's easier to worship at home. We won't be doing any communion for the time being. We'll do it soon, I promise. You just got to eat an elephant one bite at a time. We won't be taking any tithe checks for the time being either. Until we get a system in place, please keep giving as you have been during the lockdown. We won't be setting up any snacks or coffee, but feel free to bring your own. But Scott, I need more information. I've got you covered. Come on. There's going to be a limited number of seats available to worship inside. Check your inbox to find a link to sign up for a seat. And know that if you sign up, that you're agreeing to all the inside rules. And if you sign up, we'll get the correct number of seats for you and your family. Just for you. It's like a restaurant reservation in here. If there are more people that are signed up that want to be in here than there are seats available, we will put you on the waiting list. And don't worry, you're going to get in the next Sunday that it's available. Don't let it throw you. When you sign up for an inside seat, there's going to be a greeter just on the outside of this door. And they're going to tell you where to sit. It'll be real clear, I promise. Here's where all the magic happens. Here's where all the live streaming goes on. That tech team, they're doing a great job. Give them a thanks if you see them. Hey, we're taking precautions to make sure that the inside is as safe as possible for you. In that vein, masks are required if you're going to be inside. Now, the one exception to that rule is that the singers and the preachers are not going to be wearing a mask. So when you sign up to come inside, just know that that's going to be the case. We're going to have 2 hands-free sanitization stations. Gary Nelson made these things. They're beautiful. Listen, don't eat the sanitizer. This is for your hands. You're going to want to eat the sanitizer. Don't do it. That's for your hands. We're going to have all the doors open for ventilation. If you're worshiping outside, there'll be someone standing right here to greet you. and they'll help you get seated and situated. So right here, there's going to be a big old TV and lots of sound. And over here is where you can sit, or over here, or over there. We're going to have stakes in the ground that are about 10 feet apart so that if you and your family sit around that stake and another family sits around their stake, you can maintain the social distance. Be sure to bring a lawn chair for every person in your family. We'll have extras, but we want to reserve those for any visitors that we might have or people that forgot them. We encourage you to bring your own water. We'll have some here for you, but it's nice if you have your own, particularly in times like these. The words are going to be projected on the screen, on the TV, right out here. It'll be good. But if you're sitting way out there, you might not be able to read them. So we'll have some song sheets that you can pick up. We won't be handing them out. You can just pick them up. Or if you don't want to pick them up, we'll send them to you digitally. We'll send that out with the email for the church service. And then you can print it off at home and you can have your own sheet that no one else touched. If the weather's bad, you might want to stay home and participate from there. That's okay too. Hey, feel free to bring an umbrella or a shade tent. We only ask that if you do that to set up near the back rather than the front so everybody can see the TV. The service time is being limited to 1 hour in part to limit the intensity of the bathroom usage. But don't worry, the bathrooms behind the sanctuary are available for your comfort and your convenience and your emergencies. If you're in the sanctuary, go ahead and enter the doors here, and then you can go to the men's and women's bathroom respectively. If you're worshiping in the yard, don't worry, we got a plan. Go ahead and walk around to the breezeway right here and come through the breezeway doors and then come inside and then go into the men or the women's bathroom respectively. If you're live streaming in your car, go ahead and enter the breezeway and go into the door and enter the men's or the women's bathroom respectively. Just be aware that masks are required if you go inside, so bring a mask. If you forgot your mask, don't worry about it. We got one for you. We got you covered. These bathrooms are equipped with state-of-the-art soap dispensers and water pumpers. Use that to get the germs off. There will be CDC signs in the bathroom to give you guidance on how to wash your hands. We've also installed hands-free openers to the bathroom doors. You can enter like so and exit like so. If you're a parent, you're probably wondering about the playground. The playground has been open to the community for some time, but Sunday mornings pose a unique challenge. This is because some parents are comfortable with their kids on the playground equipment, but others aren't. But whether you're comfortable with it or not, your kids are going to get here and run straight towards this thing. And so in an effort to help the parents that don't want their kids on the playground, we're going to close the playground equipment on Sunday morning until 1/2 hour after the service ends. That way you can say to your kids, I'm sorry kids, it's not my decision. That's what Pastor Scott said. That way the parents that aren't comfortable with their kids on the equipment aren't the bad guys, but the parents that are comfortable with their kids on the equipment, well, they just have to wait a little while, but then it'll be open. There really is no ideal solution, but this is part of what we're doing to try to care for our families' kids.
Well, Ravenna, those were your high-speed instructions for reopening this Sunday, July 5th. Remember that we're probably not going to get this perfect the first time. We're probably not going to get this perfect the second time. We'll be fortunate if we get it perfect at all. And so as we enter into this COVID culture of love and deference for one another, let's show one another the love and grace that Christ has shown us. And to that end, I just am so excited to see you. I cannot wait to open up and see some faces that I haven't seen in a long, long time. But hey, this is our moment, and I'll look forward to seeing you.